Troy Davis will snap it to Aubrey Jones. A critical play for the Houma offense. Cedric Allen is close.
Darnell Lee with penetration got to the ankles of Allen.
And he did not make it.
Watch a super play by Darnell Lee to shoot that gap, penetrate into the backfield, and able to get his hands on the ankles of Allen. That's the way you get the big guy down. You take his legs from underneath him, and that's just the way it went. St. Junius piled on top of him, but it was Darnell Lee's penetration and grab for the ankle that was huge. That was a big play for the Lake Charles Landsharks. Back on defense, the Bayou Bucks, and Emmanuel Bentley is not out there.
Franklin is in the game. Winbush shucks one tackler and gets to the 4, and a flag goes down.
There have been a few less penalties in the second half. That first quarter, as you remember, Lynn, lots of flags. Not as many right now, but got one on this play. That's probably a hold, huh? Holding against Lake Charles.
Travis Brown is in the ball game, replacing Emmanuel Bentley, who is still ailing on the sideline. There's Brown, who wears number 24.
Defense needs to stop and force a turnover. That clock becoming more and more a friend of the Landsharks as it rolls now. And of course, Lake Charles will be happy to take their time a little bit, wisely doing that. Want to snap the ball with only a couple of seconds left on the play clock. That adds up over the length of a quarter to a lot of time.
That's exactly what Harrison is doing, looking at the play clock. Fullback quick hitter smashes out over the 7. That is Citizen. Tony Citizen is the second run of the game. A 5'11", 210-pounder.
I would think we're going to see Citizen and Winbush with the ball in their hands a bunch here. I would be surprised if they put it in the air on this drive, unless they just got into a third and very, very long. It's a down and distance thing now offensively for the Landsharks.
13:45 to go in the 4th period. Austin running loose, fumbles, still on the carpet, still loose, and Lake Charles has it at the 10, and the Bucks made a couple of very critical mistakes of trying to pick the ball up and run instead of flopping on it.
Coaches will tell you, you just got to fall on it, but it's an instinct of the player to try to pick it up and make something happen. In that situation, though, it backfired on the Bayou Bucks.
Here's Austin, and let's see how many Bucks had a chance to recover it.
Roger Green stripped it out of there.
There's 1. There's 2.
2 different guys could have fallen on that ball. Austin got it back. He's the one that lost it. He got it back. Good hustle by Austin. He kept staying with the play.
And that play right there has been synonymous with what has happened in the game for Houma. Harrison flips it to the outside.
McAfee.
He dances for some yardage to the 9 and picks up only 1 after all is said and done.
A safe pass out there. McAfee trying to shake something loose. And Harrison was got a big pop coming up. Don't stand around the foul down there, Sullivan Beard.
Jermaine Martin, a little guy, laid the lumber.
It's a good way to have somebody offer you a seat standing around the pile.
That's why you're required to block above the waist on that type of effort. Winbush, who has 4 touchdowns, now has 5.
They like running left, obviously, and loading it up with some lead blockers and whatnot. And Winbush puts his 5th touchdown of the night on the board, as you said, Lynn. And The Lake Charles Landsharks, they smell blood.
They are in a feeding frenzy right now.
Win Bush using his speed and right up the left sideline.
3 consecutive 2-yard touchdown runs, then a 5-yarder, and now 1 from 9.
He got some dancing going on.
Holy mackerel. He
needs dance lessons, though.
That's pretty good for a 360-pounder, though. My, oh, my.
See, I kind of...
Franklin Thomas says that's enough of that.
No, that's a little bit showboating with it. That's a little poor sportsmanship.
That's a triple meat Whopper right there.
With poor sportsmanship. He overdid it. He overcooked it a little bit. Emotion's fine, but that's almost rubbing it in, and that's not cool.
Sanford misses the extra point. One of the few kicks that he's been errant on, and now we've got a flag and a little chop by Franklin Thomas after the play. Somebody was jawing, and Franklin Thomas cut loose with a little jab to the head.
He threw a right hand, and the ref took his right hand and threw the flag.
This is something that Jack Phillips will not tolerate on the Houma bench. And
well, the refs, I think the refs could have flagged Lewis, the center for Lake Charles, for his taunting after the score. The refs had better get control of this thing now. See, right now he should be flagged. He's doing it again, drawing attention to himself, and that's not good sportsmanship. It's a team game.
I could not agree with you more. Jack Phillips fully understands that. He's a guy for whom I have a lot of respect, the way he has handled himself in his 2 years on the Houma sideline.
I met Jack several years ago in the AF2 League. He was working with the Memphis team, and that's when I got to know Jack and did lots of things with him on radio and TV.
Kip Tejada there is telling Mr. Lewis, hey, that's enough.
Yeah, now I'm going to applaud Coach Tejada for doing that, too, because, again, Lewis overcooked. And it's fun. You like emotion. You want to entertain the crowd, but he overdid it. You don't do something at the expense of others who are down 37-13.
That was a pretty good belly roll, though.
A lot of belly to roll.
We will shortly be back to action. 11:42 remaining in the 4th quarter, and Lake Charles has its biggest lead.
And Lynn, as we roll through this 4th quarter, don't think Michael Burks and Herb Tyler haven't been missed by this offense tonight.
No question. Causey at the 5. Excuse me, this is Chestnut. Out across midfield. Causey had been returning kicks, but that time Darian Chestnut was back and made a nice return.
Chestnut running north and south. Yeah, another penalty flag. Another one against Houma. They're coming apart at the seams here. They're down mentally a little bit because it's 37-13. We're into the 4th quarter. And like you said, Lynn, Coach Phillips is not going to tolerate this.
Well, he's just a class guy.
That's not reflective of Jack Phillips, to see something like that. And I'm sure we won't see much of it, if at all, the rest of the way tonight. Well, offense has got to make a lot happen in a short period of time.
Aubrey Jones has taken every snap at quarterback. Looking. Picks up a block and finally runs into trouble. Jones was running right and running left, and finally Shello was there in his path.
Kevin Thomas also was some pressure with Lake Charles, and I'll tell you, Mick Rodemeyer tried to peel back around, throw another block on Shello, and actually blocked Shello right into Jones.
Shello, probably what, 10 or 12 years removed from Southern?
Easily, yeah. I remember him when he played for the Jaguars, and he was a fine football player out there on the bluff for Southern.
And he's had experience with a lot of indoor professional teams.
I've seen him around a few different games and teams as well.
Jones from shotgun formation. Looking, gets rid of it. Chestnut has it, a short pickup to the 15.
Tackled quickly like Corey Stewart. And that would be part of the defensive plan right now by Lake Charles. Let him complete the short pass and go tackle. You know, they'd have to do too many. They don't have enough time to do that the rest of the night, so Lake Charles is happy to let them do it.
And there are 5 defensive backs in the game now for Lake Charles. The linebackers have been recalled.
Yeah, and don't let anybody behind you. Keep them in front of you, make a tackle. That's the scheme that the defense for the Landsharks is in right now. And the Bucks will have to figure out a way to make some points in a hurry.
Jones ducks. Shello gets the sack.
Kendall Shello playing hard in the fourth quarter. You know, there are those that think these guys might be a little bit out of shape, but trust me, you're still hustling in the fourth quarter. And even though some of these guys have gained a few pounds from their college playing days, they're still athletes, they're still competitors.
There's at least one exclusion, though. Mr. Lewis.
Yes.
Shello is playing like an airplane. Fourth down. The Bucks just hoping to get something to go right.
Well, as I calculate what I'm about to see, I think we're going to see Strapolo intentionally kick one out of bounds and give the ball at the 25, the strategy used by the Landsharks.
I don't think it works on the field goal attempt, though.
It doesn't?
We may find out. Landsharks have done that. Well, they have done it a couple of times on the punt/field goal, haven't they?
Water break.
Or have those been on the kickoffs?
I think it's been on field goals.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right.
They were on long field goal attempts. He
basically from his own end zone decided rather than
put it in row 8.
Yep.
So we'll see if Strapolo chooses the same strategy, because I don't think he can convert this field goal.
I think he may try for it, though, because trailing 37-13, there is very little to lose.
For the field goal.
Last field goal attempt was blocked.
It's a fake. Intercepted. Porter still with the football. Porter with an effort all the way to the 1-yard line. And now more laundry goes flying.
This thing's getting out of control. The refs have lost control of this game, and they're going to have to do something right away to regain control. There was several guys that got in some licks and some pushes and shoves well after the whistle on that play.
Kevin Hurd tosses the interception.
This is
had a man open, just underthrew him.
This is an idea that just did not work.
That was Betts, the intended receiver, and watch this effort by Porter.
Yeah, he was trying to get some points there. And then they're going to rough him up on the board pretty well here and keep pounding and pulling on him. And as you see, that's what started everyone else to want to have some extracurricular activity. We had a series of flags dropped on that play.
There are some resemblances, unfortunately, to WWF.
On that play, for sure.
Offsetting fouls, however.
Personal fouls on each team. Offset penalties.
Porter with a heck of an effort following the underthrow from Kevin Hurd. He had Betts open on what would have been a first down reception. Kevin Hurd catches touchdown passes. He doesn't throw them very often.
And I don't think they exactly fooled everybody with that fake field goal, although we didn't suspect it.
Let's take a timeout. 8:25 to go, fourth quarter. Lake Charles leads by a lot.
kitchen's really cooking during Copeland's Fresh Seafood Festival. It's the freshest seafood with a shot of New Orleans attitude. The Fresh Seafood Festival, only at Copeland's.
37-13, Lake Charles out in front of Houma with 8:25 remaining in the fourth quarter.
A little bit of the excitement of the playoff atmosphere tonight at the Lake Charles Civic Center has been taken out of the building as the Landsharks comfortably in the lead with 8:25 to go. And I haven't seen anything out of the Houma offense tonight that suggests to me that they can come back from 24 down with 8:25 to go. And as that clock moves, the Landsharks are going to be smelling that victory. As we talked about earlier, Houma won the 2 ball games earlier this year back in April. You see 48-35, and then down in Houma at the Houma Terrebonne Civic Center in May, 28-21.
And in those 2 wins, Houma forced 9 turnovers. 5 in that first victory here. That started the Bucks on that 6-game winning streak.
Well, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but clearly tonight Houma has had far more turnovers than Lake Charles.
Freddie Harrison has done a credible job of not losing the ball game for Lake Charles.
He's played well, as you talked about in the pregame. He's 4-0 as a starter. Looks like he's smelling 5-0 right now. He has done a good job. He's managed the clock well. He's led his football team in a fine manner.
Winbush has 5 touchdowns. Harrison fakes the toss and hands off to Austin. And there's not much room there.
I think we're going to see some just play out the play right here. It didn't look like a whole lot of enthusiasm by any of the 16 players on the field for that play, 8 on each team, obviously.
I think we may see some more wiggling, though, before it's over.
I think Winbush might like to have his 6th touchdown of the night as well. Yeah, but I prefer the dance contest with the little kids, the twist and shout thing. That was far more appropriate.
.740 to go. Harrison flips it to the outside. And dragged down at the 15-yard line is Shadrack McAfee.
And the best friend in the building for Lake Charles at this point in time is the time clock.
7:17 and counting.
And again, Freddie Harrison's doing a good job keeping his eye on that play clock to his left down in the back of the end zone. He's snapping it with 2-3 seconds to go. Smart clock management and leadership by the quarterback, Freddie Harrison, as he looks directly at it before he rips into his cadence.
Down to 2. That may be a lateral. No whistles yet.
Jacoby Austin has hustled that ball up for Lake Charles.
That was a lateral.
I'm like you, Lynn. I didn't hear a whistle.
Austin was able to burrow under the pile. It'll bring up 4th down, but that was a dangerous play. Really an unnecessary gamble by the Lake Charles Landsharks.
Quick lateral. Was a live ball. You called it correctly. A little bit of a scramble. A couple of bets seemed to look like he got a hand or 2 on it, but Earl Vircher.
No, Vircher was the intended receiver, and then you're right, Austin was able to rake it in.
He's the one that had it when the whistle blew.
So now we'll have a 31-yard field goal by Sanford. It is hooking left, and he missed it.
5:52 left in the game.
5:52 to go. The lead remains 37-13. Lake Charles out in front. We'll be right back.
Pittsburgh Paints, making life easier and more beautiful for over 100 years. You work too hard to paint with anything less.
Tonight's NIFL Indoor Football League action is brought to you by Copeland's in New Orleans with locations in Lafayette and Houma, by the Cardiovascular Institute of the South, and by Terrebonne Parish, one of the best places in America to live and work. Aubrey Jones.
Movement on the line early.
Just in that kind of a game, fits and starts for Houma for the most part.
This has just not been the night for the Bayou Bucks. They have never gotten into a good rhythm. And I can't help but think that without Herb Tyler, without, Michael Burks, that the rhythm that is lacking, and that's a part of the reason.
Tyler was 8-1 as a starter.
And Burks, pretty darn good running back out of John Curtis High School in New Orleans.
Young gets rid of it. Sullivan Beard makes the reception, tries to turn back and elude some tacklers, but he was down.
Kevin Hurd still hustling for the Bayou Bucks. That clock keeps moving.
Kevin Hurd, the fine receiver out of Southern Mississippi.
The Golden Eagles of Southern Mississippi.
He played on a couple of dandy teams there out of Hattiesburg.
Couple of bowl teams, didn't he?
4:42 left in the fourth quarter. 37-13.
How about a little noise for the defense on the red team there?
Hurd goes left. Causey comes right. Chestnut in the slot. And Houma has difficulty getting the play situated and takes a timeout. What an exciting year it was in the Houma Terrebonne Civic Center, a place where Houma did not lose a game this year. And you can get your 2004 season tickets by calling 851-3600. If you're outside the 985 area code, you'll need to dial that. 851-3600 for 2004 season tickets for the Houma Bayou Bucks. And a 25% down payment is required. There are some great seats in that wonderful building.
Get out there and get your seats now so you'll be ready for 2004.
Thomas and Shello, the dancing bookends.
Lake Charles, get as loud as you can.
You love it, don't you, Tommy?
Louder, louder.
Not a big fan of that at this point.
That's a live ball. Allen runs out to the 17-yard line. That's a first down. A little sandlot action there, but it worked.
A little, some improvisation there. As Jones is in trouble, he's looking, and he's got people hanging on him. Shello right there, and Allen does a smart thing. Moves the ball up the field and moves the chains with it. We do have a player shaken up for Lake Charles, Kevin Thomas, but he goes off the field under his own power. And this has just not been a good night in any way, shape, or form for the Houma Bayou Bucks. They were down 17-6 at half. They've been outscored 20-7 here in the second half.
And they picked up that early touchdown coming out of the halftime break, but nothing since then. And Tommy, really, for both sides, this game has not been representative of what has happened during the year. This has been a sloppy game for both teams.
It has been sloppy. A lot of penalty flags.
It was on the hands of Anthony Whitehead, but he could not make the interception.
Jones drops back. He looks up the field, and he's going to try to get it down there. Whitehead stepped right in the way and just bobbled it to the turf.
Aubrey Jones evidently thought somebody was coming back for that ball or going to make a sideways move to the middle of the field. That pass was closer to Whitehead than anybody.
Slowly. Noise, please. Louder.
On second down to the end zone. Touchdown. Right into the hands of Kenny Causey.
I'll tell you, that was a well-thrown ball by Aubrey Jones. He led the guy perfectly. Saw the route developing as Causey streaking up the left sideline. That's the best-looking play of the night for the Bayou Bucks, obviously. But I think it may be a little bit too late.
But Kenny Causey, with a nice route, worked free in the end zone, and Aubrey Jones was right on the money.
See, Jones sees right here that he's going to streak the left sideline. Look at that. Perfect spiral. He lays right out there, right on the numbers. Beautiful pass. And now Jones still talking to Coach Phillips. We're going to get the
Well, they'll have to go for two here.
They'll go for two and look to get the ball back in a hurry.
2:53 to go.
All right, y'all know what to do. Turn it up. That just blows his mind. Timeout on the field.
Houma has to spend another timeout getting organized for the two-point conversion. For Kenny Causey, the touchdown reception, the former University of Alabama Birmingham player who was with that club when it upset LSU a few seasons ago.
Right.
LSU will open its season August 30th against Louisiana Monroe. And all 12 LSU regular season games will be available on a playback basis right here on Cox Sports Television. Coverage of the Southeastern Lions, the Southern Jaguars, coaches' shows, and boy, it is real close, Tommy, and the excitement is building. It's going to be a great lineup as Cox Sports Television rolls into autumn 2003.
Super job by Cox Sports Television to put so much Louisiana college football on this fall for the fans across the state. That's going to be very exciting. And a tip of the hat to Cox Sports Television.
They tried to shovel it off to the fullback, and that did not catch anybody
Green.
off guard.
Roger Green in at fullback. Another former Southern Jaguar. Penalty flag, imagine that.
Green is the nose guard and sometimes lines up as a blocking back.
Illegal window washing against the Landsharks.
There was a penalty marker down. I think Houma will get another crack at it.
Some of the crowd.
It's just tough to get that slip it off of the fullback because they're looking for the run down there, and it doesn't really matter whether the fullback or the tailback gets it. Everything's going to be jammed in that box area. This extra point comes from the 1-yard line.
Well,
if Houma can convert here, it'll be 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions behind.
Well, you don't want to fumble the snap. That's what they did.
They can run it back. Still loose. And finally, the ball is blown dead.
And that keeps it a 3-score situation, right, Lynn?
But that's the only option Houma had, trying to get a 2-point conversion, because they could have gotten within 16, which theoretically would give them a chance for 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions.
You'd have that outside shot at the tie, but right now you need 3 scores. 3 scores would tie you, but it's still the difference of 3 scores and 2 with only 2:43 to go.
There's a guy who hasn't given up.
No, and he won't. Coach Jack Phillips won't give up. I can promise you that.
It's been a pleasure working with him this year. He's a guy of high principles. Good for sure.
I know you're looking forward to it.
A new chapter in football coverage in Louisiana, not only with LSU, but many other schools. Flags go down. I believe somebody was offside on the kicking team.
Yep, another penalty. You wouldn't think you'd see so many penalties in a playoff game. You made reference to that earlier in the broadcast, but there's been a bunch. Sloppy would be a good way to describe this game from that perspective.
Have you ever seen a rodeo arena after about a 2-inch rain and the horses have done their thing?
Better to see than to smell.
Yeah.
These refs need to move this along a little bit.
One thing they don't want to do, though, is allow any more extracurricular activities to mar the remaining 242.
Because this has been an outstanding season for the Houma team and for Lake Charles, obviously. A lot of good football played, and
Lake Charles successfully recovers the kick. That's a pretty good catch down there at the 15-yard line.
15. I believe that's Darnell Lee down there.
that's Virtue.
As the starter,
After going to the playoffs
Johnson
for 2 years,
has had a broken leg, so he's unavailable.
Gonna win this one tonight. How's that make you feel?
Johnny Johnson would have been the starting quarterback. Harrison has done a nice job. Winbush, looking for yet another touchdown, is chopped off his feet near the 9-yard line.
And yet again around the left side. Roger Green makes a stop. Timothy Betts.
Winbush has scored 3 times from 2 yards away, once from 5 yards, and once from 9. We're at the 2-minute warning, 37-19. Lake Charles out in front. Back to the wishbone formation. It's been successful. Austin wrestled off his feet by Betts.
Jacoby Austin on the carry.
Tim Betts is still playing hard.
Some good blocking up front, and Jacoby Austin just busted through that gap. Timothy Betts, the only thing between he and the goal line. Betts does bring him down.
I guess the big question is, does Winbush score for the 6th time?
I have a hunch he gets the handoff here.
Give yourself a big
He's going to get 2 more handoffs if he doesn't score on this.
And it's coming left if he gets the handoff.
We can see the play about to happen. And he can also get a first without scoring.
It's not Winbush. It is Citizen who plows ahead, and another flag goes down. Citizen gets the first down just short of the stripe.
The ref shouldn't throw that flag. Well, I guess they got a face mask on. That's what the call is. Yeah, I guess you got to throw that one.
It'll be about a 2-inch penalty.
Yeah.
First down, Landsharks. First and goal, matter of fact.
And a very good season for the Bayou Bucks is about to come to a screeching halt, man.
The Bucks will finish at 10-5. The Landsharks move on. They will be 13-2.
Lake Charles Landsharks taking
Lake Charles has been in the league 3 seasons, and the fewest wins it's had during the regular season is 10.
If you plan on attending the game,
they've won 10, they've won 13, and they have won 12 in the 3 regular seasons.
your house and receive $5 off the price of admission.
This will be their first playoff victory in 3 attempts. Citizen to the end zone.
Touchdown, Tony Citizen for your 8.
That'll do it.
43-19.
If there was any doubt, that'll do it. Lake Charles definitely the better football team tonight, as we've talked about. Houma has beaten these guys twice already this year. We know the whole story. It's tough to beat somebody 3 times in any sport. Home, road, it doesn't matter. This is the 2nd time the game's here in Lake Charles. And tonight was just the night for the Landsharks and not for the Bayou Bucks.
Clint Sanford has been a busy kicker tonight.
Express bound for Houma. See you.
Now they can't even get lined up. Everybody's
We've got folks.
The focus level is off here. The concentration level, I should say, is a little bit off by everybody in the building, including the guys who are supposed to be on the extra point team.
Sanford hits this one.
Sanford's point after is up and good.
And Lake Charles continues to roll up the points, leading 44-19 with 77.
Was made, and they'll be looking forward to the 2004 season.
You can bet on that. Here we have a souvenir, and you can bet that was planned as well. I think Sanford was.
I think he kicked it to his uncle.
I think he was pointing to him.
He kicked it to his uncle.
That's pretty good. We told you he was accurate.
He's accurate. Kicked it to his uncle.
So there goes 50.
I wouldn't think they'd do a whole lot. They're going to compete. There's no doubt about that. Jack Phillips will insist on that. And Lake Charles, as we talked about a couple of times tonight, very, very successful in the regular season in the NIFL. They're going to notch their first playoff victory, having 2 first-round losses in their past.
First and 10, Houma.
So that's progress in their program as well.
Well, they've had 35 victories in the regular season over three seasons. Jones zips it too far.
Jones pass is
Second down with 70 seconds to go. Tommy, you'll be busy in the next few weeks coordinating the Southeastern radio and television broadcasting activities. Hal Mummy at the controls.
A lot of
and the Lions, my goodness, has rejuvenated that campus and rejuvenated Hammond, Louisiana.
They put sprint turf down at Strawberry Stadium, and that whole North Shore community has really become excited, as well as the folks in New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Hal Mummy, Woody Weidenhofer, the defensive coordinator for the Lions, and a lot of local guys on the roster. There'll be a mixture of that, and that's going to be fighting. Fun Lion football back at Strawberry Stadium in Hammond.
A short ball is caught at the 20 by Chestnut.
In fact, their season opener will be live on Cox Sports Television August 30th when they host Arkansas Monticello.
Less than a minute to go.
And then Southeastern will also host the McNeese State Cowboys from right here in Lake Charles, who go into Hammond on October the 4th. Chestnut
again. Knocked down at the 8th. That stops the clock with 40 seconds remaining.
Coach Phillips instructs Aubrey Jones to intentionally ground the ball.
Landsharks, we cannot let these guys score.
44-19, Lake Charles comfortably ahead. And on its way to Wheeling, West Virginia next week.
Yep. Jones wants to throw. Got plenty of time. Fired that one into the back of the end zone and through the end zone.
Second goal.
31 seconds remain in Houma's season.
And I know the team appreciates the support of the fans in the Houma Terrebonne area in Lafourche Parish that showed up, and they look forward to seeing the folks in 2004.
Make that noise.
Cedric Allen has scored twice. Kenny Causey once. Chestnut running to the left side near the stripe, but he's knocked down at the 1.
Chestnut squeezes down to the 2.
Houma wants to get one more score. They're hurrying to the line of scrimmage with 15 seconds remaining. This is thrown to the stance to stop the clock. It's going to bring up 4th and goal.
Left to go in the game.
Showing their competitive spirit, not giving up at all, even though their fate is written in front of us. They're still going to battle to the final whistle, as you're taught to do in athletic competition.
I don't think that man on your left would have it any other way.
I'd agree with that. They certainly have a good guy leading this program with Jack Phillips. There's no doubt about that.
All right, this is it. 4th and 1. You got to stop him right here. Make some noise, people.
The blitz from Lee, and he takes down Aubrey Jones.
That's indoor football, Landshark style.
Darnell Lee with another good play.
5 seconds remain.
So all we're going to get here is a
Quit crying, dude.
we're just going to ride out the string here, Lynn. Somebody's going to snap it and fall on it or lean forward.
Everybody, welcome to meet your favorite Landsharks player on the field.
Biggest question remaining is, will there be a penalty marker on the final play of the game?
I hope not. My vote is for no. As always, Lynn, a pleasure working with you again. Are we still doing Coach Phillips?
44-19. The Sharks out in front of the Bucks. Well, congratulations to Lake Charles, a ball club which has been dominant in its division in its 3 years of existence. And of course, the Houma Bayou Bucks doubling the win total from a year ago. And they will be looking to get even better over the fall and spring. That's it. The final score. Lake Charles 44, Houma 19. For Tommy Kryzant, I'm Lynn Rollins. Lake Charles will play again next week. The Bayou Bucks close out their year at 10-5. Lake Charles moves to 13-2 and faces defending champion Ohio Valley next week in Wheeling, West Virginia. We thank you for being part of our inaugural coverage of the NIFL in Houma, Louisiana. And of course, to the good folks here in Lake Charles who have assisted with this broadcast tonight. The final score from the banks of Lake Charles, the Landsharks 44, the Bayou Bucks of Houma 19.
Sports Talk 10, we're drawing live on the set with coach of the Bayou Bucks, Coach Jack Phillips. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. What about the Bayou Bucks? 3rd season, and how's things? Made the playoffs last year, so I guess y'all looking to build on that, huh?
Absolutely. Boy, I think we just kind of got let down there at the very end. Going into our last 3 games, our last 3 weeks of the season, we won 55-6 and 40-6, and had an opportunity during the bye week to really get well. And I thought we were as good as we were going to get going into the 3rd game against a very, very good Lake Charles team. But things didn't happen the way we would like them to happen. But of course, it gives us plenty of optimism coming back for this year.
Right. Does it help you build? Because your game is pretty much about bringing in players and getting a reputation. And I'm sure that helps you when you pick up the phone and say, hey, this is Jack Phillips. Oh, hey, yeah, you're the coach of the Bucks, huh?
Yeah, well, it helps. I mean, the year before where we had so many injuries, I think 7 to start the season, the very first game, I think it helps. You know, the first year we kind of got players only because we were losing. This particular year, I think the interest is going to be how we win. 5th best record in the league overall out of the 22 teams, losing 3 straight and coming back to win the last 8 out of 9. Very impressive from my standpoint, but I think we have so much more room to improve, especially with our character of the guys.
And Coach, I know we heard today you're having tryouts coming up pretty soon. And tell us about those and what kind of players you're looking for your team.
Well, boy, do I have some success stories. December the 6th at Nichols State Practice Field, we're going to have one. That'll be 8:30 registration, and 8:30 registration on January the 3rd at Tulane, in New Orleans. So for me, I'm just looking for straight talent, as much talent as I can put in camp, and then as many local guys as we can possibly find. But of course, Darren Chestnut last year was a surprise after getting cut the very first year, our inaugural season, coming back to not only be a part of something very, very nice for us and helping us to win, but using that opportunity to really blossom and start towards the end of the year.
Well, it seemed like you got better as you went, Coach. Are you learning how to coach as well? Of course, you grew up as
Very
a coach.
well.
I know your dad from New Orleans and the public schools in New Orleans, but I'm sure it's a learning experience for anybody.
There's no doubt, and anybody that thinks that I'm not learning as we go, the idea is that we can win while I'm learning. So that's very, very important. The bottom line is, I talked earlier about the difference in the coaching staff and how we're going to approach things differently this year. This is the 3rd consecutive year that we're going to do things a little bit different with the coaching staff. So every year you learn. You learn that you can do without some guys. You learn that you can. You learn about the injury process. This particular year I learned an awful lot about characters and how the guys react on this level. So I'm constantly learning, but the good thing is we always have an opportunity to win.
Hey, tell me about your team and some of the guys that might be coming back. Now, Herb Tyler is probably not coming back as your quarterback, but what about maybe your running back? I know the kid from Rummel that turned into a pretty good player.
Well, you know, I'm not quite sure about those things, but I do know that character is going to be A1. I think we can put a lot of different guys on the field and win, but when it comes to the character of the organization and the guys that put on those uniforms, that's got to be A1 this year, because that's something that I learned last year. It really wind up biting us in the butt, the character of the guys. Thought we had it all whipped. So that's something that's going to really have my attention. So anybody that's not with it, they're not going to be there. And you know, Herb Tyler felt that was something that he had to do for whatever the reason. Of course, I don't agree with it. So Herb Tyler doesn't have a future here with us.
Now, Coach, we got another indoor league team coming around here, the New Orleans Voodoo. I mean, how do you look at that? Do you look at that as like competition, as a league that might steal some of your players?
Half full and half empty. I have to use that to my advantage. Remember, one of the reasons why these guys play football on this level is to move to another level. Well, I have 2 levels here. I have the Arena 1 team with the Voodoo, and I also have the New Orleans Saints, who I've been having very good relationships with. So I'm not going to squander those relationships. New Orleans have their team. Houma definitely can support this particular team. We're the rave at the league meetings, how a community this small can support a team and do it so well. So we can only get better. We know that as an organization. We're going to try to do things and make us a little bit more organized in-house with our administration. We're going to try to make some money this year, because I'm learning that it is a business overall.
And like, do you get like a lot of players that are like really young and still have like those dreams of like going up to the next level? You get a lot of young guys that maybe didn't get that chance to be drafted.
Better than that, I get some old guys, 50 and 55. But no, yes, and that is the type of guys, a la Drew Email out of Vanderbilt. A guy that just stuck. He just will not be deterred. And he may not be the starter, but he's always in the top 4 defensive backs, and that's in the like of Tyrone Hughes and Sullivan Beard, and those guys are all conference, and of course Tyrone Hughes is all pro.
Absolutely. Coach, you mentioned the fan support too. I mean, talk about how like this town of Houma, you know, I mean, the first professional team in this area, and how they've like really taken the Bucks under their wing.
Well, let me give you an example. In 1998, I played on a team called the Bayou Beast out of Baton Rouge that had Michael Lewis on that team, where we won 20 games and lost 1. And the fan support in Baton Rouge doesn't compare with the fan support here. But deep down in the Bayou, there's a lot of history behind football. And I do high school football on the radio on Fridays, and boy, is it good. Good, solid football here. It doesn't change whether it's indoor or outdoor. That's why the Voodoo doesn't really threaten me or our organization. We know that we're Homa's team, and Homa's always supported us.
It's 879-1231. I think a lot of people don't know, but they've been holding on.
All right. Coach Jack Phillips, though, is in. And, Coach, we not only have football players trying out, but you also have some Bayou Bells. Huh?
Absolutely.
That must be tough making that cut.
Well, and I'm not the guy that makes that cut, and thank God for that. We've been seeing some of the young ladies that's been coming by to register, and it's just been outstanding as far as character also. And the interviews for the 2004 Bayou Bells will be held this Saturday at the Bayou Bucks office. The deadline is Friday at noon. So call 851-3600 for more details, and they'll lead you guys from there.
Absolutely. When is it, Coach? When's the trial again?
No. They want me to kind of keep it hidden, the exact time.
All right. Well, yeah. Well, I guess I can't make it through the interview process. Line 5's Troy Johnson.
Let's go.
Former NFL player. Hey, Troy, what's going on, big man?
Hey, Coach. How you doing, man?
Coach, you want to say hello?
Hey, how you doing, man?
You guys doing good?
Offset. You know, usually you're in the booth somewhere during the game.
Yeah, man. We haven't done it in a while, man, but you guys are doing a great job.
Thanks a lot.
2 quick questions I want to talk about. The quarterback situation. I know Herb Tyler went through some things last year. Do you guys have that ironed out as who your quarterback will be this upcoming year, or right now are you looking for someone to come in and compete for the job?
That's good about your quarterback situation.
Quarterback is Herb. Is it ironed out who's going to be a quarterback, and is somebody going to be able to come in and compete for that job?
Anybody can come in and compete for that job. You know, the one thing about it is the type of coaches that I'm going to have around me, we really know the game. So it's not going to take us long to figure out that the guy can or can't play. The idea is it's always wide open, but we're going to go out and recruit. We're going to have some local guys here in the state that we might want, because Herb Tyler was a perfect fit for the Bayou Bucks, and it's just a shame that it didn't work out. But we do have to move on, and I would rather move on with something positive than to have something like that hanging over our head. So the sky's the limit. We've always been able to play with or without guys. 5 times last year without Michael Burks, and won them all, I think. The bottom line is, there's fantastic athletes everywhere, and I think even guys that play on this level need to know that when they come here and they have character flaws,
That's all right.
Second question, Coach. I know that also was a shakeup in the front office as far as the general manager position. Who will actually do the scouting, look at players, make assessment as far as personnel, and who's that final decision going to rest on?
Troy said
I'll hang up. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Troy.
Thanks, Troy.
He said he knew there was a shakeup in the front office as far as GM. Who's going to actually do the scouting and actually choose the personnel that goes on the field?
Well, guys, you know, I've always done that. I mean, even when Travis was here, but Travis is, you know, it takes a lot of, one of the reasons why this league works better than Arena 2, which is Arena 1's answer to us, right. Is because it's cheaper to put the show on. It costs us about $500,000 or $600,000 a year to put the show on the road. Arena 2, it costs them about $1 million too. So we're paying the players the same. The coaches are pretty much the same. And so the idea is that, you know, I'm sorry, I just lost words on that.
So anyway, you're going to make most of the personnel decisions.
I've always made most of the personnel decisions, not to demean what Travis Carrell has meant to us, and that break was clean and it was mutual between the two parties, and Travis is still a consultant of ours, so I wouldn't call it a shakeup, but a lot of people would like that. And that's a very good question, because I like to, you know, we're very close-knit group, and even Travis Carrell at this point is really helping us. But the personnel decision has always been mine, and Travis is just, he wears so many different hats that he can't be, it's not like he's not there.
All right, Coach, thanks for joining us tonight. That'll do it for Sports Talk 10. See you all at the game, everybody.